Okay, hello, welcome back. And this week we're talking about novels. What about novels specifically? Well, what is a novel? A novel is a prolonged story that has a beginning, middle, and end, usually, and should, but that's another conversation. A novel, though, is a story, right? A book. You can see a bunch of them back there behind me on the bookshelf. Things like Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Game of Thrones, the Witcher series, Warhammer 40K series. Um, all these are different kinds of novels. Okay, stories, Lord of the Rings, right? These are books, and they're lengthy, right? They're somewhere anywhere from typically 65,000 to 120,000. And they can go longer, they can't really go shorter. You might have a couple that are short, but that typically is more of a novella, which is a mini novel. Okay, so novel, right? About on average about 80,000 words, 250 pages or so. Yeah, your average book. Um, and so you're going to be writing a chapter for a novel, right? So novels are broken down into chapters, easy chunks that bring together small concepts. You did your flash fiction, right, which was a slice of life. Well, think of a novel as a bunch of flash fictions that tell a continuous story, kind of like how sonnets did, right? You have your different quatrains and couplets. Well, here you have your different chapters, right? They all are separate parts of the story that contribute to the full story. And they can be sequential, they can jump around, they can have different character perspectives, they can all be from the same character, they can be omnipresent, where it's a narrator talking about everything. There's a lot of different ways to tell stories. But the key part of telling a novel is your main character. The audience needs someone they can gravitate towards, they can follow throughout the story from beginning to end, who experiences the theme, who experiences the crow, character relationships, objective, who, what, where, and why, and who explores the want, need, belief, and ghost, right? And so I'm going to go into those things a little bit more in depth this week. The first one is a concept called the hero's journey by Joseph Campbell, or from his book Hero of a Thousand Faces. And it's really interesting. I posted a video down below, or there should be a video in here in the classroom somewhere, by a Studio Binder on YouTube. And the concept of the hero's journey is you look at a story like a circle, okay? And at the beginning, it's kind of like a clock, but it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? It's a clock from 0 to 12. So there's 13 steps, right? Um, more math. And how it works is you have your kind of like, remember that plot line we talked about with introduction, rising action, climax, fallen action, resolution? Well, you map down to the circle. Introduction, rise in action, climax, fall in action, resolution. And so in the hero's journey, you have two different worlds. You have the top half of the circle, which is called the normal world. Then you have the bottom half, the special world. And the idea is on the circle, you start with the status quo, which is just your day-to-life normal world. Your call to action, which is the moment that everything changes. Something's introduced to your hero's journey to where everything this kicks off the story. You have your special aid, which is they get help from a mentor or someone's going to prepare them for their journey. You have crossing the threshold. This is the point of no return, where they go into the special world and they are committed to whatever this adventure is. Then you have your trials. This is just their first situations to where they're struggling with the new world. They're trying to get used to it. You have your approach. The approach is when they've gone through the trials, they're learning something, they're ready to face the biggest challenge of their life, which is the climax or the midpoint. The ordeal is what it's called. And this is where they face the big bad guy. They solve they deal with the big puzzle. They're getting the big job interview, and they either succeed or fail, which leads us to our reward. Okay, this is the consequences to what's just happened. If they slain the dragon, they get the gold. If they ask out the girl, they get rejected. Then we go to our flight. This is their process of leaving the special world. They've gotten the gold, but they have to run away before the cave collapses. They got rejected from the girl. They have to leave before they get humiliated. And then we have the return. So they're back to their normal world with all the experiences that they've gone through. You know, they they've gone back to the military. They've gone back to college, whatever. But the story's not over yet because the character still hasn't fully realized the theme or hasn't expressed the theme that they've learned it. And so from the return, we go to the resurrection. Okay, and the resurrection is a conflict comes up again that they thought they had escaped, thought they wouldn't have to deal with, but instead they have to. And now they have to muster together all the things they've learned over the ordeal or fail. Okay, so they face, they face the evil king once more. The dragon comes and invades the town when they thought they defeated them, something like that. But now they with this resurrection, they defeat the concept or they're defeated by it, and we have a resolution. Which is where all the plot lines are wrapped up. We know the ending of the story. Katniss won the Hunger Games. We go to new status quo, which is 12. And this is once again like a cycle, our day-to-day. Our character's new day-to-day. It's not the same as it was before because the character's gone through this entire journey. Something is completely different about their world. Even when they've gone back to their normal life, you can't have the same life that you had. That's the biggest lesson of life is you can't go back. Things are always changing. So now the hero is the main character is known as a hero. Celebrated. The main character is a king. The main character died, and so people carry on their legacy. That's the hero's journey. And after all of that, there's one more thing I want to go over today, called the character arc. Okay, and so if you look at your hero's journey, like a clock, there's three different main character arcs: a positive character arc, a negative character arc, or a flat arc. Positive change, negative change, flat arc. The idea is the positive change is our typical one. Okay, like we talked with the grocery store last week. Your hero has a problem, deals with the problem, and becomes a better person because of the problem. They realize their need by the end of the story, and they've accepted it and grown from it. A negative change arc is the opposite. The character might know the theme from the beginning, know what they need to do, but by the end of the story, they've rejected it. Okay, they're usually a villain by the end. Okay, so positive person becomes a better person, negative means they become a worse person because of it. And then you have your flat arc. The flat arc is the character already knows the theme and has accepted it, but the world around them does not accept the theme. And so the character's goal is to try and teach this need to the world, or to resist people trying to change them. An argument might be Hunger Games. Okay, the idea is that Katniss Everdeen already accepts that she needs to protect her family, and that she will stand up against the enemy to do so. And the whole concept is trying to get her to be selfish, to hurt other people, to fight for herself, but she resists that and keeps trying to help other people. And by the end of the story, there's a big rebellion, against the government because people are changed because she has shown them the truth. So that's the flat arc. And so look at those. There's some more videos of that. And I hope you have a good week. Don't forget your discussions on Thursday.